Have you ever felt that there's something inside of you that hasn't been released yet? A dormant force, an immense potential, just waiting for the right moment to unfold. Perhaps you've noticed it in the way you interact with the world, in how you speak to yourself, or in that quiet sense that you're not living from your true essence. That feeling isn't an illusion or a coincidence. It's life itself calling you from within, your true energy, your authentic self, asking you to wake up after being asleep for far too long. We have learned to live half-heartedly, to suppress emotions, to fit ourselves into molds that don't belong to us. But within each and every one of us, men and women alike, there exists an untouched spark, a seed of greatness that has never been extinguished. It's simply waiting to be remembered. It's not about becoming someone new, but rather about returning to who we've always been, complete conscious beings, capable of loving, creating, and transforming. Today, I want to invite you to look beyond your doubts, beyond your fears, and past those old stories that have told you that you must be small. Today is the moment to begin to unleash that power that already resides within you. You don't have to do anything extraordinary to deserve it. You just need to allow yourself to be. The energy that dwells within you is not some mysterious or foreign entity. It is the vital force that sustains your every thought, your every emotion, your every action. It is the capacity to create, to feel, to love, and to transform your life from the inside out. But as we grow up, that energy often gets trapped, hidden behind fear, guilt, and the beliefs that we once accepted as truths. And without realizing it, we stop listening to it, we stop trusting in it. The energy that compels you to be authentic, to live from your truth, never truly disappears. It only slumbers, waiting for you to have the courage to summon it again. Have you ever wondered what could change in your life if you were to release all that power you carry within? Today we will explore how your true energy is strengthened when you learn to connect intimately with your consciousness. It's a connection capable of changing not only how you feel about yourself, but also how you experience your entire life. We will be inspired by the teachings of Louise Hay, a woman who not only spoke about self-love and emotional healing, but lived it firsthand. She was someone who went through deep wounds, abuse, illness, and loss, yet chose to transform her pain into wisdom. Her story reminds us that no matter what you have been through, there is always a power within you capable of healing, rebuilding, and being reborn. And today that power is waiting to be remembered. Are you ready to hear it? Louise Hay taught us that every thought that passes through our mind is in reality an affirmation, and the way we speak to ourselves silently shapes the reality we end up living. When we feed our minds with thoughts of doubt, fear, or self-contempt, that inner energy that sustains us begins to fade, not because it disappears, but because we stop giving it strength. But when we choose to speak to ourselves with love, respect, and patience, something within us starts to change. Our gaze becomes softer, and the way we face challenges becomes filled with a calmness that once seemed impossible. It's like someone who has spent years walking in a storm and then suddenly, without knowing how, discovers that they can build a shelter within their own mind, a place where life, with everything it brings, no longer tears them down, but strengthens them. This is where the true power of consciousness comes into play. Connecting intimately with it doesn't mean controlling everything or fighting against what you feel. It means observing yourself without judgment, like someone who sits in front of a calm lake and simply watches the reflection on the water without trying to alter it. From that stillness, something powerful is born, the ability to choose, to make decisions, not from fear or old wounds, but from love, from the serene strength of someone who is beginning to recognize themselves with honesty. And it is there, in that small daily choice, that true transformation begins. Louise Hay taught that true healing begins with self-acceptance, not with perfection. It's not about being demanding, but with the brave act of embracing all that you are, even the parts you learned to reject. You can't unleash your full potential if you keep hiding fragments of yourself under layers of shame or fear. Maybe you learned to hide your sensitivity because someone made you believe that feeling was a weakness. Perhaps you suppressed your creativity because you heard too many times that you weren't enough, that you weren't good enough, that dreaming was a waste of time. Maybe you've repeated phrases to yourself that hurt more than any external criticism. I'm not good at this. I always fail. Who am I to try something different? Or it's too late to change. And without realizing it, those words have become invisible chains. But what you learned one day, you can also unlearn. And it all begins when you finally decide to treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated. It's not enough to just change thoughts on the surface. True transformation happens when you also allow yourself to feel, because the energy that sustains you isn't just mental, it's sensory, it's bodily, it's profound. It expresses itself in the way you breathe, in how you hug, in how you are moved by something simple and true. It's in the laughter you can't contain, in the tears that come without permission, in that silent vibration of being alive. Connecting with your true self means allowing yourself to experience life intensely, without fear of feeling too much, without fear of being vulnerable. It's not about controlling every emotion. It's about opening your arms to the human experience, about remembering that feeling deeply doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. When you deny what you feel, when you force yourself to be strong all the time, as if feeling were a luxury you can't afford, something within you begins to harden. Your energy stagnates, becomes heavy, and foreign to your own nature. But when you give yourself permission to feel, without judging, without holding back, without apologizing, everything begins to change. When you cry without blaming yourself for crying, when you laugh without fear of laughing too much, when you move as if your body is free to take up all the space it needs, then what was stagnant within you begins to be released, not because you force it or reason it, but because you simply dare to do it. Feeling doesn't weaken you. Feeling gives you back your life. Another one of the major blocks we carry comes from the past that we never dared to heal, from those silent wounds we carry within, even though we learn to smile as if they didn't exist. Perhaps you are still carrying the harsh words that someone said to you when you were too young to defend yourself. Perhaps that betrayal you never understood, that abandonment that made you believe you weren't enough, still hurts. Maybe you are still carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you, fears you learned in broken homes, resentments that accumulated after every broken promise, after every goodbye you didn't know how to endure. And so, with every unaddressed wound, your energy fades a little more, like a flame covered by layers of dust. Not because you have failed, not because you are weak, but because no one teaches us how to heal the pain that is not visible until one day you decide to stop carrying it, until you choose, even if it hurts, to face those wounds and begin to release them, because no one can build a new life if they are still chained to old pain. Healing the past is not an act that happens all at once. It is a process that begins with small gestures, with the words we dare to plant within ourselves. That's why I now invite you to repeat these words in your mind, not as if you are forcing yourself to believe something immediately, but as someone who is beginning to open a forgotten door with patience and love. I am willing to release the past. I am willing to forgive. I am willing to heal. I choose to leave behind all old wounds. I choose to live in peace. I choose to be free. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of feeling loved and respected. Even if our past was horrible, I deserve love. Louise Hay said that forgiveness is one of the most powerful keys to setting ourselves free, not because we are justifying what was done to us or denying the pain we have experienced, but because by releasing resentment, we stop being prisoners of what has already happened. Forgiving is not forgetting. Forgiving is deciding that our well-being is more important than continuing to hold on to a pain that drains our life. It is letting go of the emotional burden that kept our heart at war. When we choose to let go, something profound begins to happen within us. The energy that was once stagnant in resentment, guilt, or sadness begins to release, begins to flow with a softness that we may have forgotten. We feel a new lightness, as if we can finally breathe without fear, as if our heart can finally beat without chains. It is right there, in that moment, where the true magic happens. Life opens up before us again. Forgiving is not always easy. Sometimes the heart needs to hear new words to begin to heal from within. That's why I now invite you to repeat these affirmations in your mind gently and without haste. Allow yourself to feel them like seeds that are beginning to take root inside you. I am willing to forgive. I am willing to release the past and live with a heart in freedom. I choose to let go of all resentment. I open myself to peace, healing, and love. Today I let go of what no longer belongs to me. Today I choose to live lightly in fullness. When we start treating ourselves with love, when we let go of what no longer serves us, when we stop blaming ourselves for feeling, everything in our life begins to change. Something within us aligns in a new way. The inner voice becomes clearer. Intuition is strengthened. Peace, that peace we have so often sought outside, begins to be born from within. Not because everything is perfect, not because challenges disappear, but because we have finally chosen to be on our own side. And when that happens, life also begins to respond in ways that once seemed impossible. Imagine what your life would be like. Instead of waking up every morning with the weight of guilt, fear, or the feeling of not being enough, you would wake up knowing for real that you are already everything you need to be. Imagine not having to fight every day against that voice that tells you that you are not worth it, that you cannot, that you do not deserve. Imagine trusting your intuition, even in those moments where everything seems to be falling apart, knowing without needing external proof that within you there is a force capable of sustaining everything. Imagine embracing your scars, your mistakes, your wounds, not as a reason for shame, but as living proof that you have survived, that you are still here, that your story doesn't end in the wound, but in the transformation. This is the true power that dwells within us when we stop living disconnected from who we are. It is a force that does not need to be created from the outside because it already exists within us, intact, waiting to be recognized. It is not something we have to conquer. It is not something we have to deserve. It is something we have simply forgotten, and that we are now ready to remember again. Today the invitation is simple but powerful, to make a commitment to yourself, a real commitment, not to be perfect, not to be someone new, but to be true to yourself. Commit to speaking to yourself with love, even on those days when doubt wants to win, to trusting your intuition, even if the path is not yet clear, to letting go of the past, not because it has stopped hurting, but because you no longer want to carry it, and to embracing the present with gratitude, even in the midst of imperfection. Because when we connect intimately with our consciousness, when we stop being afraid of who we really are, everything in our life begins to transform. And that transformation does not begin outside, it begins today inside of you. When you start to reconnect with your true energy, the changes don't just happen within you, the world around you also begins to respond. Relationships are transformed, not because people change, but because you begin to relate from a different place. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin to open up in unexpected ways. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes accessible, real, attainable. It's not magic. It's life reflecting your new vibration. It's the world responding to the way you have chosen to inhabit yourself. I invite you from the heart to try it. Give it a shot. After all, what's the worst that can happen? And what if what you gain is much more than you can imagine? Don't be afraid, just start. Start by changing the way you speak to yourself, in how you treat yourself every day, step by step with kindness without demands. And when you do, I want you to tell me how you feel. Do you think you can do it? Do you feel capable of starting this new path? You are not alone. We are many on this same journey. The journey of learning to treat ourselves better, of returning to ourselves, of being a little freer every day. And why does this happen? Because the energy we carry within us is not something abstract or philosophical. It is vibration. It is the way we think, feel, and act. It is the frequency from which we relate to others and to life itself. When that energy is in balance, everything flows more naturally. It doesn't mean that problems disappear, but the way we face them changes. We stop fighting against life and begin to walk with it. In contrast, when we are disconnected, when we carry guilt, fear, or internal demands, everything becomes an uphill battle. Every step seems like an effort. Every day becomes a silent fight. And not because the world is against us, but because we are moving away from ourselves. One of the most profound changes we experience when we begin to heal is the ability to receive love, to receive help, to receive recognition, to receive without guilt, without resistance, without the need to prove that we deserve it. We live in a society that has taught us that everything must be conquered through effort, that only those who fight tirelessly are worthy of receiving something in return. And under that belief, many of us have learned to reject, to minimize, to distrust even the small gifts that life tries to offer us. Learning to receive is not an act of weakness, it is an act of trust. It is allowing life to also sustain us, for love to also find us, for abundance to also flow toward us. And when we truly open ourselves to receiving, something in our energy changes. It becomes lighter, more magnetic, more alive. Have you recently allowed yourself to receive without guilt or explanations? Or do you still feel that you must fight to deserve every good thing that comes into your life? Louise Hay taught that true abundance is not limited to material things. Real abundance is much broader. It is love, it is well-being, it is connection, it is the certainty that we are part of something bigger that is always seeking to sustain us. When we believe we are worthy of receiving, when we stop putting up barriers between ourselves and life, something changes. The energy that we once blocked with doubts, fears, or guilt begins to flow naturally, and then the things that once seemed so distant begin to arrive. The opportunities, the right people, the experiences that nourish the soul, not because we fight harder, but because we finally allow ourselves to open our hearts and accept all the good that life wants to offer us. Opening ourselves to receiving does not just mean accepting what comes from the outside. It also implies allowing yourself to receive from yourself. The inner energy flourishes when we stop seeking outside for the love that we don't give ourselves. When we understand that nothing and no one can fill the void that we ourselves have neglected, an essential aspect comes into play: self-care, but not as a passing trend or a to-do list to be completed, but as a deep act of respect for who we are. Self-care is a daily reminder that we are valuable not for what we achieve, not for what we give, but simply because we exist. It is treating ourselves with the same patience, with the same tenderness that we have so often reserved only for others. True self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity for the soul. Louise Hay taught that the relationship we have with ourselves is the most important one in our entire life. Because everything we give, what we build, what we dream of, is born first from how we treat ourselves in silence. If we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't give ourselves the time, space, and attention we need, our energy begins to wear down, and when energy runs out, dreams, relationships, and the ability to see beauty in the everyday also wither. Nothing can flourish in forgotten soil. Nothing can grow if there is no root to sustain it. Taking care of ourselves is not a selfish act. It is an act of love that sustains everything else. But self-care is not just physical. It goes far beyond a beauty routine or taking a day off. True self-care is holistic. It is caring about what you consume on all levels. What thoughts do you let into your mind? What kind of words do you say to yourself when no one is listening? What relationships do you continue to cling to even though they no longer nourish you? And what emotions do you feed day after day, even without realizing it? And also, how do you feed your body? Not from guilt, not from demands, but from love. Because what you choose to put on your plate is also a way of saying to yourself, I matter, I respect myself, I want to be well. Self-care is about creating an internal and external environment where you can flourish, grow, and rest when you need it. It's about building a solid foundation to support you, even on the most fragile days. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, if you live trapped in stress, in self-demands, in thoughts that sabotage you, it's like living in a house where the windows are always closed, where light never enters. Over time, that place becomes dark, heavy, and difficult to inhabit. But if you consciously choose to surround yourself with what nourishes you, if you cleanse your thoughts, if you make space for what does you good, then something changes. Light begins to enter, the air is renewed, and your inner self slowly becomes a sanctuary where you can breathe. Connecting with your consciousness is just that, being present to realize what you are building within yourself, a place that sustains you, or a space that wears you down. One of the most powerful aspects of reconnecting with our vital energy is expression, because many times what exhausts us is not what we feel, but everything we force ourselves to keep silent. When we silence ourselves for fear of judgment, when we stop saying what we really think, when we pretend to be okay just to fit in, something inside us begins to fade. The energy gets blocked, repressed, and over time we stop recognizing ourselves. But when we give ourselves permission to express ourselves authentically, even if our voice trembles, even if it's not perfect, that energy begins to move again, to breathe again. And expression doesn't always have to be verbal. It can manifest in art, in writing, in the body that dances without explanations, in that moment when you choose to be yourself, without justifying yourself to anyone. Because being authentic is also a form of healing. And when you dare to show yourself as you are, without masks, without filters, something inside you is set free. Do you remember the last time you truly laughed? Or the last time you allowed yourself to cry, without holding back, without apologizing, without feeling weak? Stop for a moment. Think about that, not to judge yourself, but to remember that feeling in any way is also a way of being alive. When you express yourself without fear, without filters, without the need to fit in, you are honoring your inner energy. You are giving it space to exist without restrictions, to manifest itself as it is. Louise Hay often spoke about the importance of listening to our inner voice, that silent guide that is always with us, even when we don't listen to it. She said that a deep wisdom lives within each of us, a compass that is never wrong, but which we have learned to ignore out of fear, habit, or external noise. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers. This intuition is instinct. It's that inexplicable feeling that tells you with clarity what your mind still doubts, the path that is a yes, the one that is a no, the one that is no longer a yes. And the more you dare to express yourself from that authentic place, the stronger that connection becomes, because true expression is born from within, and when it is allowed to come out, it releases everything that was dormant. Now I want to know how you feel. Tell me in the comments. This is a safe space, a community where you can express yourself without fear, without filters, without judgment. Here you can be you, free, honest, real. I am going to read every message and respond with my heart, because this video is made with love, with truth, and with the deep desire to accompany you on your path. You are not alone. We are many walking toward the same thing, returning home to ourselves. And if something you heard today touched your soul, share it. Because when you share what transforms you, you also inspire others to heal. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And remember, no matter where you start, the important thing is that you start. If this video resonated with you, if it accompanied you even a little in this moment of your life, I invite you to like it, subscribe, and share it with someone who also needs to hear these words. Here we continue building a space of transformation, word by word, step by step, and I want to close with a quote from Louise Hay that summarizes everything we have shared today. There is nothing that cannot be changed with love. Thank you for being, thank you for feeling, thank you for being. The power of authentic living. Have you ever noticed how the world seems to align with you when you are truly being yourself? It's as if the universe itself exhales a sigh of relief when you stop pretending to be someone you're not. This isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a fundamental principle of energy. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, your inner and outer worlds begin to harmonize, and the path forward becomes clearer, not through struggle, but through flow. The energy that was once spent on maintaining a facade is now free to create, to connect, and to attract what is truly meant for you. This is the essence of living with integrity, where your actions, your words, and your thoughts are all in harmony. This journey back to your authentic self is a process of unlearning. You must unlearn the stories you've been told about who you should be, what you should do, and how you should feel. Think of all the masks you have worn over the years to please others, to fit in, or to avoid conflict. Each mask requires energy to maintain, and over time that constant effort can leave you feeling exhausted and disconnected from your own life. The liberation comes when you bravely choose to take off those masks, one by one, and reveal the person who has been waiting patiently underneath. This act of self-revelation is a powerful step towards true inner peace and genuine self-acceptance. Living an authentic life also means embracing your imperfections and your vulnerability. True strength isn't about being invulnerable, it's about being honest about your struggles and allowing yourself to be seen, warts and all. When you can look at your flaws not with shame but with compassion, you create space for immense growth. Your vulnerabilities become your greatest strengths, for they are the very things that allow you to connect deeply with others on a human level. They are proof that you are real, that you have lived, and that you have the courage to be yourself in a world that often demands conformity. Navigating life with intuition. As you begin to shed the old layers of who you are not, your intuition, that quiet inner wisdom, will become more audible. We are all born with this internal guidance system, but it gets buried under the noise of external opinions, societal expectations, and our own self-doubt. Learning to trust your intuition is a practice. It's like a muscle that grows stronger each time you choose to listen to that inner whisper over the loud, demanding voices of fear or logic. This is the voice that guides you toward opportunities that feel right, away from situations that feel wrong, and into relationships that nourish your soul. Listening to your intuition doesn't mean you will never make a mistake. It means you will make decisions that are aligned with your truest self, and even if they lead to challenges, they will feel like the right challenges for you. This kind of inner alignment creates a profound sense of peace and a deep knowing that you are on the right path, regardless of how winding it may be. It is the compass that always points to your true north, even when you feel lost. This is the key to living a life of purpose, a life where you are not just surviving, but truly thriving. The more you practice listening to your intuition, the more you will realize that life is not just a series of random events, but a conversation. Life is constantly sending you messages through synchronicities, through the people you meet, and through the quiet nudges you feel in your gut. Your role is not to force things to happen, but to learn to receive these messages and to respond with courage and trust. When you stop resisting and start flowing with this conversation, you will find that doors open effortlessly and that the journey becomes one of discovery rather than a relentless struggle. The universe is always conspiring in your favor, and your intuition is the language it uses to speak to you. The abundance of an aligned life. Living in alignment with your true self and trusting your intuition naturally leads to a life of abundance. This isn't just about material wealth, but about a richness in all areas of your life. It's about experiencing more love, more joy, more meaningful connections, and a deep sense of contentment that isn't dependent on external circumstances. When you are truly being yourself, you become a magnet for the experiences and people who resonate with your unique energy. You no longer have to chase after things that don't belong to you. Instead, you attract what is a true reflection of your inner state. This kind of abundance is a byproduct of inner work, not a goal to be pursued. When you heal your wounds, let go of old fears, and embrace your authenticity, you are essentially raising your energetic vibration. This higher vibration naturally attracts people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your new frequency. You'll notice that relationships become more genuine, work becomes more fulfilling, and your days are filled with a sense of purpose and ease. It is a state of being where you are not just receiving, but also giving freely from a place of fullness, creating a beautiful cycle of reciprocity with the world. So as you continue this incredible journey, remember that the most powerful thing you can do is to be yourself. There is no one else in the world like you, and your unique expression of life is a gift that the world needs. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, every time you listen to your inner voice, and every time you embrace your true self, you are not only transforming your own life, but also inspiring others to do the same. The ripple effect of one person living authentically is immeasurable. Your journey is not just for you, it is a beacon of hope for others. Will you choose to shine that light today? Here is a third part, translated and expanded in English, with multiple characters to add to your text. It continues the themes of self-love, self-worth, and connecting with a deeper purpose. Embracing your story. Your life story is not just a collection of events, it's a living tapestry woven from your experiences, your choices, and your resilience. Many of us spend a lot of time trying to edit out the painful parts, wishing certain chapters had never been written. But what if we were to embrace every single moment, the triumphs and the heartbreaks, as essential parts of our unique narrative? There is immense power in acknowledging your full story without shame or regret. This act of radical acceptance is not about justifying past hurts, but about honoring the person you have become because of them. When you stop running from your past, you reclaim the energy that was once spent on avoidance and denial. This newfound power allows you to stand fully in your present, knowing that every experience, good or bad, has contributed to the masterpiece that is you. Think of your scars not as symbols of what broke you, but as proof of what you have survived. They are a testament to your incredible strength, and a reminder that you are a living, breathing testament to transformation. Your journey is not one of flawless perfection, but of authentic growth. It's about getting back up after you've fallen, about finding your voice after you've been silenced, and about choosing love in the face of fear. When you can look at your life and say, "This is me, all of it," you unlock a level of freedom and peace that is unparalleled. You release the need for external validation and finally begin to live from a place of deep inner worth. This is where true healing begins, in the quiet confidence that you are exactly who you are supposed to be. The next step is to use your story to empower others. When you openly share your journey, you give others permission to do the same. Your vulnerability becomes a source of strength, and your truth becomes a beacon for those who are still lost in the dark. This is the ultimate act of self-love, to recognize that your healing is not just for you, but for the collective. By simply living your truth, you create a ripple effect of courage and authenticity in the world. You show others that it is possible to transform pain into purpose, and that every single person has the capacity to rise above their circumstances. The call of a deeper purpose, beyond the surface of your daily life. There is a deeper purpose calling to you. This is not something you have to invent, but something you have to uncover, like an ancient treasure buried within your soul. It's that quiet passion that makes your heart beat faster, that feeling of alignment that you experience when you are doing something that feels deeply meaningful to you. We often get caught up in the pursuit of external goals, success, money, recognition, but true fulfillment comes from aligning our lives with this inner calling. When you connect with this purpose, your energy becomes focused, your actions become intentional, and your life takes on a whole new dimension of richness. To discover this purpose, you must listen to your life. Pay attention to the things that bring you joy, and to the moments where time seems to stand still. What are you naturally drawn to? What makes you feel alive? Your purpose isn't always about a grand career or a heroic feat. It can be found in the simple, loving acts you perform every day. It can be in the way you listen to a friend, in the compassion you show to a stranger, or in the art you create just for the sheer joy of it. This purpose is woven into the very fabric of your being, and when you allow it to guide you, your life becomes a powerful expression of your soul. This journey is not about finding the one perfect purpose, but about living from a place of purpose in every moment. It's about bringing your full, authentic self to everything you do, whether you're at work, with your family, or simply walking in nature. When you live with this level of intention, you begin to see that every action, no matter how small, has a purpose. You are not just going through the motions, you are living a life of deep meaning and connection. This is the ultimate act of liberation, to realize that your purpose is not out there to be found, but right here waiting to be lived. Living as a force for love. As you continue to heal and grow, you will find that you are naturally becoming a force for love in the world. This is the final stage of the journey, the shift from focusing on your own healing to becoming a vessel for healing others. When your cup is full, you can pour into the lives of those around you without feeling depleted. Your presence becomes a source of calm, your words a source of inspiration, and your actions a source of hope. This is not about becoming a savior, but about living as an example of what is possible when you choose to connect with your true essence. This love is not a passive emotion, it is an active, powerful force that can change lives. It is the courage to speak your truth with kindness, the strength to set healthy boundaries with grace, and the resilience to love yourself even on your darkest days. When you operate from a place of love, you create a space for others to do the same. You show them that it is possible to be both strong and soft, both vulnerable and powerful. Your life becomes a living affirmation that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that it has the power to heal all wounds. Remember, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. It needs you to share your unique gifts, to embrace your flaws, and to shine your light, even if it's just a tiny flicker at first. Your journey of self-discovery is the greatest gift you can give to the world. And as Louise Hay so wisely said, love is the great miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. So keep going, keep loving, keep shining. The world is waiting.